Hello, welcome back to Not Just Another Jessica. I'm Jessica. The topic of today's video is how to save money in the kitchen. So I'm thinking about things that we do to save money while cooking or cleaning or organizing within the kitchen. And I have quite a few ways I do this. We're a one-income family. It's always very important to me to stretch the budget as far as I can while still making sure that we're getting all the vitamins and nutrients and minerals and proteins and things that our body needs to be healthy. Especially during this time now with the pandemic going on, I'm extra vigilant about making sure that everyone is eating their fruits and vegetables and taking their vitamins and just trying to get all the sleep they can so that they can make sure to stay healthy. But back to the kitchen. What are some of the things that I do to save money? First thing we do to save money, and this is not only in the kitchen but whenever we go places, we use reusable water bottles, and these are labeled with my kids' names and they know which one is theirs. So this is helpful when we go out of the house because that way we're not having to buy drinks, be it sodas or waters or juices. But also here at home, it cuts back on the dishes. I have 4 kids, and somehow at the end of the night, there can be nights where I'm loading 22 cups into the dishwasher thinking, how did this happen? And I decided that a good way around that was to use the assigned water bottle with the name on it. That way there's no, I don't know who drank out of this, yuck, I don't want to use it. They know it's theirs, and they can be responsible for finding it if they don't have it here in the kitchen. So that's been a good accountability for them. Another thing that I do to save money in the kitchen is I do a lot of recipes that use cheap proteins. So one of the most affordable proteins you can buy at the store is ground turkey. And I have a collection of favorite recipes that I make with ground turkey. Anything from your normal spaghettis or chilies to things that I make with cabbage or anything that you would use ground beef in. I just replace it with ground turkey and I find it tastes just fine and it's much more affordable. Lately, I've started doing something else to make meat go even further here in the house. And that is when I'm cooking ground meat, which I am doing right now, I'm getting dinner ready. So tonight we're having chili and I'm cooking the ground meat. I put a can of lentils in with whatever I make. So tonight's ground turkey for tacos or chili or anything, I put the can of lentils in and I season it just as I would any other dish. And the family doesn't realize that they're really eating lentils because they probably wouldn't eat them on their own, but they will eat them in stuff. And these have a good amount of fiber and protein, and they're a healthy addition to their diet. So that's an easy way to stretch your meals and make your meat go further. So as far as more money saving in the kitchen, something I do is I bake our own baked goods. We don't buy pre-made baked goods very often unless we absolutely have to. So here we have some sourdough that I made and some banana bread. And the reason that I made banana bread today was that we had bananas that were going to turn, and I don't want to waste anything in the kitchen. So if there is something that is about to go, it is going to be cooked in some way, shape, or form. Another good money saver in the kitchen is if you have supplies that you know are getting ready to not be usable anymore, to use them up and then freeze the product. I had bananas that I needed to use, and I decided to make some banana bread, wrap it up really well with a few layers of wrap, and I'll put this in the freezer. And this way, if there's a time where I need to bring a dish to a potluck or maybe bring food to someone who isn't feeling well or any sort of a function for school or church, it's already prepared and all I have to do is go and grab it. So it's a time saver too. Or it's going to be frozen. And that's something I do when we buy our fresh vegetables. When we buy vegetables at Costco or Walmart, I figure out how many I'm going to use right away, and the rest of them I chop and put in Ziploc bags in the freezer. And it's really great because I have a Ziploc bag full of diced carrots, a Ziploc bag full of diced celery, one of onions, one of garlic cloves, one of peppers if it's pepper season and they're affordable. And that way, whatever I need for a recipe, I can just run out and get from the freezer. And that saves a lot of money because I'm not having to run to the store all the time, and that's a time saver too. If you look, there's so many recipes that call for some tiny amount, like half a cup of diced celery. And I certainly don't want to be running to the store for that. My time is a little bit short, and I don't have time to be running around like that. But if you have it in the freezer, then you're good to go and you don't have to worry about it. Here are some bags of frozen pre-chopped celery that I made after our last shopping trip. We had fresh celery for snacks and in some of our dishes, and then it was time for the celery to kind of start turning on us, so I chopped it up and I put it in serving size bags, and now it's ready for the next time we need it as an ingredient for a recipe. Well, as you can see, I'm here cooking dinner tonight, and I have on my apron, and I think this is a money saver in the kitchen. This is one of my favorite aprons. I get these at the Costco business from the restaurant supply part of it, and they have big pockets where I can stick my phone or whatever I need, and they wash really well, and they're very simple. But this saves you a lot of time and effort trying to remove stains from clothing. Cooking can just, by the nature of it, be messy. Same with doing dishes. And if you splash on your favorite outfit or your favorite dress or shirt or sweater, that's a big bummer, and you have to go through the hassle of trying to get the stain out. But when you spill on your apron, it doesn't really matter that much. Getting back to our chili, my chili recipe is very simple. It's just 2 to 3 pounds of ground meat of your choice, whether that's beef or turkey or whatever your family enjoys. I know some people are able to go hunting and they enjoy elk or deer, any of those sort of naturally caught meats. Then I add in 4 or 5 cans of beans. Sometimes I make them myself in the pressure cooker, but if I don't have time for that, I always have canned beans on hand. And I also put in 2 cans of tomato paste and 2 cans of diced chili, and then chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, and onion powder, and salt to taste. And all the canned sort of foods like this I buy at the discount store. So I either go to Winco, which is very affordable here, or Grocery Outlet. We don't have Aldi, though I do like Aldi. I go to them when I'm on vacation. But here in town, you can go to Grocery Outlet, and I believe this was on sale for 19 cents. So this whole pot of chili is not very expensive, and I do the cook once, eat at least twice. So I'm making enough of this that we can make sure we have it for lunch tomorrow. And that's a big money saver when you're a homeschool family, or if right now if you're on quarantine in your house and you're going to be eating lunch at home, cook enough dinner that tomorrow at lunchtime you don't have to think, oh no, what are we eating? What am I going to make? Because I've been reading funny posts where people say, oh, it feels like I've cooked 3,000 meals in the last few weeks. And I can see how you would feel like that if you were cooking a fresh meal every time. So I think a good planning tip to make it easier on you if you're the cook in your family is to make sure to cook extra so you have something tasty and nutritious on hand that you can give to your family and yourself, and just feel like you've served them and you've been a good help to them, but it's not taking up every minute to cook and then clean all the dishes again and again. Another way I save money in the kitchen is making sure that I use all of my leftovers. And sometimes that means I roll them over into the next meal or reinvent them. So last night we had tacos and we had taco meat left over. Tonight we're having chili and we're just getting started on that. So I'm going to add the taco meat to the chili. It'll make this meal go further, and it makes sure we use up what we had yesterday. My goal is to not have any waste in the kitchen if possible. Along those same lines, I try to make sure not to waste fruits and vegetables. And we only go to the grocery store maybe once every 2 weeks. So for the first part of that, we use fresh vegetables. But then we get to a point where we are using freezer vegetables. And seasoning blend is one of my favorite things to have in the freezer because it can be used in so many recipes. It can be the base of a sauce or a soup or a chili or a pasta dish. And this bag of vegetables is $1. So for $1, it makes sure you have everything you need and it's pre-cut and you can just dump it in and it's ready to go. Hopefully when our garden gets going, we won't have to do this as much, but you never know. On that same note, a money saver for us is using frozen vegetables. We always make sure we have a few on hand because every night at dinner I serve a vegetable or 2. So there might be some that are fresh, some that are frozen, but these are a great money saver. They're often, you can get them on sale for around 65 to 85 cents, and that's a good price to be able to give veggies to the whole family. I am trying to make my own sourdough bread. This is my starter for our sourdough bread, and it's been going pretty well. I think it's one of those things where you learn as you go, so I feel like the first time I made it wasn't as successful as it has been lately because I've been learning each time, and it's fun to develop a skill. That's something that I like to do. Now, those have been ways that I do like to save money while cooking. Other ways that I do that are I will put in ingredients that are more affordable into dishes. So if I'm making cookies, butter can be expensive and so can the chocolate chips and other add-ins, but I try to put in something in with the cookies that's less expensive. For instance, oatmeal. If you put oatmeal in with your chocolate chip cookies, you're saving money because oatmeal is fairly affordable and it makes the cookie dough go longer or stretch further so you can make more cookies. One way I save money in the kitchen is by only having one color of dishes and servingware. I buy everything in a basic white, and I try to get the tempered glass because it's very resilient to kids and doesn't chip or scratch. These are from IKEA. It's a great set where you get service for 4. It's fairly affordable, and it's nice thick tempered glass. I've had Corelle in the past, and I like those too. This is a fun bowl from IKEA. They're 79 cents, and they're made out of tempered glass. And they're great for serving salads or soups or pasta dishes in. The kids are less likely to slosh out of them, but they're only 79 cents. Something that I have done since we moved into this house is I bought a large amount of these so that when people come over, I do not have to buy disposables. Those add up really quickly. Disposable plates and bowls can be very expensive. So to spend 79 cents to get these, I have a nice good stack of them. So when we have family over or holidays, I don't have to worry about running out to purchase disposables. And I use that same idea with caring for the dishes as well. I keep this huge bin, well not huge, this bin of reusable towels and scrubbers under my sink. I don't use disposable things to wash my dishes. I don't use things that need to be thrown away. So I have a lot of these IKEA kids department white washcloths. They have different color little hang tags on them. I have some of the cotton washcloths that my aunt and my son both make. And then a friend gave us these neat crocheted scrubbies. But you can use these over and over again. It saves you from buying paper towels or disposable dishwash items. We also use cloth napkins at our house. And again, we just keep those in a bin. We have all different colors and patterns. And all of our cloth napkins have been purchased at the thrift store. And you can get, they have them all at our thrift store together in sets of 6 or 8 that match, and they come out to $3 or $4, so it doesn't cost very much to get a family supply of the reusable napkins. And then we have a basket downstairs. We throw them in when we're done. They are washed and they come back. They just go in the wash with all of our other clothes, and I keep them in this little bin I got at the dollar store. It's this very affordable way to make sure that we can use nice clean napkins. And we've gotten so used to using the cloth napkins that I find now my kids don't really care for the paper ones. They feel like they're scratchy and they're like, oh, what happened? Why don't they have nice napkins? And it's kind of funny because ours are thrift store napkins, but to them those are nice napkins. When it comes to washing the dishes, there's a few ways I save money on that. And one of the ways is I buy a large container of soap instead of buying lots of little ones. But when I use it in my sink, I use it in a spray bottle, watered down, and I can just spray it onto the pan. So instead of just squeezing large amounts of it into the sink, I do this, and it makes the bottle last so much longer. So you can just spritz your pans, spritz your plates, and they get all clean. For the pump soap, I've put a rubber band on it so that when the kids use it, they're not using too much. So that way that kind of conserves the soap and is less wasteful. Just trying to be the best steward of whatever resources we have. And something as small as soap, if you don't have to run out and buy it, that's a savings for the family. All right, the seasoning blend is going in. And then all of the canned vegetables will go in with that. In goes the tomato paste, and for this I open both ends and I remove one end, scrape it off, and then I just push it through with the other end. You don't have to try to get it out of there too much. And we have meat, seasoning blend, chilies, tomato paste, diced tomatoes, and then 4 or 5 cans of beans. Alright, I've put my chili powder in there, and for chili powder I buy the really large one at Costco. Now, for some of my other spices, I buy them in just regular containers, but when these run out, I go and look in the different sections of the grocery store, because often these little plastic bags of spices are so much cheaper. Both of these were only, I think, 89 cents at Winco, or 99 cents, and they fill up a good amount of your shaker for just a fraction of the cost of buying the McCormick or the national brand. And the other thing that you can do is certain grocery stores have a bulk section where you can refill your spices. Now, we don't always have that here in our small town. I would have to go somewhere else, but as far as being able to pick something up easily, these are really delicious and really affordable. Alright, our chili is doing well. I'm going to add another ingredient I like to use in the kitchen, and that is the Than Bouillon. This stuff is really affordable at Costco or at the grocery store, and it says that a teaspoon is the same as an 8-ounce can of broth. And it comes in chicken, beef, and vegetable for people that don't consume meat or just want vegetable broth. And it is so much cheaper than buying canned broth or boxed broth, and it just lives in your refrigerator, and when you need it, you get a scoop out and put it in your meal. So I use it in a lot of soups and stews and chilies. Alright, now we're going to make a fun recipe with some of the sourdough that I have been making while here at home. And I saw this recipe on a vintage appetizer and snack. As I was looking through, it kept popping back up in different places. And it's not so much a specific recipe as it is just a way of putting a loaf together to have a pull apart. So the first thing that you do is you slice it into squares. So, alright, let's start cutting the bread. So we want to be careful here as we do this. We'll cut it into little sections, and then we'll go through the other way. I'm using a serrated knife to do this, and I'm trying to scooch down into the bread without going all the way through it. That way it'll hold together while we try to make this dish. You know, soup and bread is a great thing to have when you have people over. It's an affordable thing to have. It's something that most people like. You can have soup and bread and a veggie and a fruit, and kids and adults should all be able to eat it, and if people want to, they can bring a side dish or a dessert, but it's an easy way to take care of most of the main parts of the meal without it being very expensive or time consuming when the people are over. If you have it done before they get there, you can just smile and talk with them and be the host as opposed to being in the kitchen and being the caterer also, because that gets difficult when you're trying to entertain but you're also having to try to get the food ready, and sometimes you don't really get to enjoy your company as much as you would like to. Now I'm noticing the second cut through is a little more tricky because it's more wobbly now that it's been sliced the first way. I'm kind of using my arm to hold it still here. A recipe like this for making a cheesy pull-apart bread could really be done in any fashion. You could do like a pizza flavored one, an Italian one, you could do a bacon and cheese one. I think it would be good with cheese and then sprinkle green onions on it at the end to give it a little bit of a freshness. Just trying to get these into the size of piece that we would want to pull off. Kind of reminds me of a blooming onion, but made out of bread. Let's see if I try going this way, if it's a little easier, since I am right-handed. One more section if we can get it to work. This would be nice if you had a really sharp bread knife. I think that would be helpful in getting it to turn out nice looking. Mind your fingers as you're doing all this. Alright, it's all in cubes. Now I'm going to brush the mixture onto it. So I have a half a stick of melted butter, and to that, hey Daphne, you say hi?
Hiya!
Hiya, sweetheart. I'm going to add a good size scoop of garlic, and I'm going to stir that in with the butter using my brush. Is it too rainy for you to play outside?
Yeah, too rainy.
Too rainy, yeah. It's definitely a spring day out there, but I think the plants are loving it. And then we're gonna just spread this on, trying to be equal with where we put it.
Is that butter?
This is butter with some flavor in it. We're trying to make this bread into a sort of a tasty treat. Do you like bread with flavor?
Get it on that side.
Get it on that side. Okay, thank you. Got a manager here.
I'm trying to help you, Mommy.
You're helping me, yeah. Thank you, sweetheart. So as I sprinkle this, I'm going to be moving my sections apart a little to try to get some cheese inside the bread.
Ooh, inside the bread.
Yeah, so that when we pull the pieces off, each piece will have some tasty flavor and stuff with it. So hopefully the garlic will melt down into it and the cheese will melt, and we'll have a tasty party pull apart here. Alright, now I'm going to give it a little sprinkle of garlic salt.
Can I smell?
Oh, no, I got to do this really light because we don't want it to be too gross or too heavy tasting of the garlic salt. And then a little bit of the Italian seasoning. Just some of that in there, give it some tasty taste.
I want to help when you're done doing those.
And now it is ready to go. So let's get our camera and see what this looks like up close.
Hello.
Hello, there's our bread filled with cheese. Alright, now it's going to go into a 435 degree oven until everything is melted. Alright, well, our dinner is ready. So we have our garlicky, cheesy pull apart made out of our homemade sourdough. And we have our turkey chili made with canned foods, frozen and leftover vegetables. Thank you for joining me for ways to save money in the kitchen, or ways that I save money in the kitchen. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing so that you can be back for the next one. Have a great day.